Engineer Oludapo Olufajo. Engineer Dolapo Olufajo is a budding academic with a vast knowledge of engineering. He's a lecturer in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, University of Ibadan. He's a teens coordinator at the All Souls Anglican Church, Bodija.
Okay, welcome everybody. Yeah, nice to have everybody in the room. We've been waiting for a few people to join, and I think we've gotten to a good number right now. We've got 19 people, and I think we should just get right to it this afternoon. So everybody, very welcome to this this room. We'll be taking this together, hopefully quite interactive, as we try to walk through the topic before us. That's beyond Sunday, building relationships that transcend church walls. And this is quite a crucial topic, which I believe we all understand. Okay, so just as a bit of how we're going to navigate on things. So we've got the agenda there. We have a bit of an introduction. We'll do an icebreaker, and we'll just keep pivoting down the line until we get into putting it into practice. Okay, but let's get things together. I would want us to do this together. Please, can we introduce ourselves? Let's have your name. So if you can identify the chat box, let's put your name, your location, and what you do. What's your ministry focus? Are you a pastor, or a parent or something, or a children's teacher or something like that? I would like us to engage on the chats at this moment, please. Can you just find the chat and just type in your name, location, and what you do in the ministry? I hope we can hear me. Okay, good. I've started seeing a few responses. That's good. Very essential. Okay. And we've got Madam Sarah from Ibadan. Okay, who is a children's teacher. Okay. Good. Oh, we got guys too. So another teacher, Mr. David from Ibadan. Ibadan people are dominating. That's interesting. Okay. So we've got people from Ibadan, children teachers, from Lagos. Yeah, wonderful. All right, provincial coordinator. That's good. That's good. All right, fantastic. Aha. Okay, everybody's leaning in. Oh, we got Port Harcourt people, so we got some extra ideas that we're going to be leaning in from today. Hopefully, as much as possible, we're going to interact. There's going to be opportunities for people to actually even get to unmute themselves so that we can hear some thoughts from people as we go along the line. I'm not the only one going to be talking. So now I can see that we have a very wide group of people with shared experiences. Thank you so much, everybody, for finding the chats and putting in those stuff. Okay, let's get to it. We'll be doing a quick icebreaker right away. Well, will I say fortunately, unfortunately, I'm a lecturer, an engineer, and so we're going to be taking a quiz. If you may, I hope that's not nostalgic for some people. But we're taking a quiz, and we'll be taking a maths quiz. Okay, which is I have my forte. Okay, so we'll be taking a maths quiz, a very simple one. And we'll do this together. Just a few instructions. It's going to be MCQ. So you can, I mean, those that are good at Zimini, Mani, Mo, or Tinini, Tanina, you should be able to still get an answer on it. And then you just put in your answer. You put in your answer with the format. So the question and the option that you choose, either A, B, C, D, there. And of course, we're going to get our winner, right? The winner of the quiz is going to be the person or the people with the highest number of with the highest number of correct answers and so on and so forth. Okay. Please don't give up as we go along, because of course intensity is going to be increasing. Can we get started? Can I see a thumbs up? Reactions. Can we find reactions? I'm sure some people should be able to. Okay. So let's start the quiz. I want to make this fun. Okay. Some people are excited to have the quiz now. All right, so it's good, simple maths quiz. So let's start with the first. We'll start with the first question there. The first question is, how many hours are there in a day? Okay. I'm sure you can answer this even from your sleep. So you put the number, so Q1, and then you put your option either A, B, C, or D. Yeah, some people are doing it right. That's good. Good. Aha, correct. Fantastic. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Says, how many hours are there in a week? Okay, getting a bit more intense, isn't it? How many hours do you have in a week? Well, quick question 2. So Q2, and let's see your answers. Hope we're, yeah. People are, okay, yes, okay, a few people have gotten to Q2, and that's good, yeah. Of course, we are moving to Q3 right away. Okay. People are still on Q1. I think that's that's the easy one, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, let's move on. So we're going to question 3. Okay. Question 3. How many hours are there on an average in a month? Okay, so we say 3.44 months. Some months are 28 days, some 30, 31 days. On the average is about 3.44. So how many do we have? How many hours do we have in a month? Can we throw in our answers? I've not seen anybody answer. Some people are still answering question 2. Question 3, we're on question 3. Okay, there's some fastest fingers. I'm still seeing answer for question 1. Where I hope you're not checking Google to find question 1 answer. Okay, and let's go on. Question 4. This quiz is not, it's not a 30 minutes quiz. It's an icebreaker. Okay, question 4 says, how many hours are there in a non-leap year? Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing answers for question 3. Question 4, non-leap year. How many hours do we have? The numbers are beginning to look big. I think I warned you when we started. Okay. I'm not seeing a single answer for question 4. I hope we're not giving up. Good. Okay, I've seen one answer for question 4. So I think we've been able to check in. Fantastic. Question 4 answers are dropping in. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Thanks for doing this with me. Doing one of my classes with me. Okay, and that's cool. Okay, but we have a bonus question, and this one, everybody should be able to do this. I mean, even if you didn't go to look at this, has no options. So I need your right answer. So how many hours do children spend in children's church or Sunday school, whatever you call it, in a week? How many hours do you spend with the children in a week on the average? Question 5. I need this bonus answer. Okay, 2 to 3 hours. I'm saying 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours in the whole week. 3, 4, 2. Okay. Yeah. 2 hours. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Very, very good, because this question is very pivotal to our conversation today. Thank you so much for the answers. Very, very good stuff. Thanks for participating, everybody. Okay, because this defines our problem. This defines why we in this room today. From what we've spoken about, most people have just Sunday. Some people have a bit more. I think the maximum I've seen in the number on the chat is 4 hours a week that we spend with our teenagers, yeah, or with our children. And so if you spend 4 hours of the week, that translates to about what, 16 hours in a month. okay? And that's about 192 hours in a year, as against the number of hours we actually have in that whole year, which we did in the quiz. So those are the correct answers of the quiz anyway, by the way, for those who haven't noticed that. Let's look at this a bit more visually, yeah? So that translates to just about 3% if we in the whole time. If you are even looking at the bigger one, it's just about 3%. If it's up to 4 hours in a week that we get to spend with the children, that's just 3% of the time. The remaining 97% of time they are spending doing what? Something else, totally something else. And so if we're going to be able to impact on these people, we need to be ready and able to understand exactly what's going in their world, and we need to be able to plug into their world in a bit more time, because 3% of time is really, really small. And I believe everybody would agree with me on that. Okay. And so what's the aim of our conversation? Where we're going to be discussing, and the aim is to equip children ministers, basically, with the knowledge, skill, and mindset needed to foster meaningful and supportive relationships with the children that extend beyond the church walls, beyond Sunday, beyond just those few hours we have with them, which will ultimately redefine the discipleship of the future leaders of our church, such that the church becomes, a bit back to what it was in the early church. Okay. And this is pretty significant, as it's going to help us. I mean, we can imagine the lack of having sufficient time and what it does to us. And if we actually are able to go beyond Sunday, it's going to build a couple of things, like deepening faith. It gives the opportunity for people to deepen faith. We saw Jesus with his disciples, and because he had that relationship with them that was not just a one-time thing, they were able to know deep secrets. There were certain parables he would explain to only them, and I mean that is the idea. And because they had more time with him, they were able to deepen their faith and be able to carry the message on. In the process of having more time with children, we also be able to model Christian living. It's one thing to talk. Talk is cheap, they say, yeah. But can they see Christ in us? Can they see us on the street? How do we behave? How do we tackle issues? How do we, do things beyond what we just say? And that's also a very useful thing. And in the process of modeling Christian living, we're able to actually impact them more. We're able to impact them better. And we saw Paul was exhorting Timothy and trying to tell him, hey, be thou an example to believers in your conduct, in your speech, and so on and so forth. And these are things that we need to do for effective ministry to these ones. Also, personalize all the number of children, depending on the size of your church or your ministry. It might not be that easy for you to reach out to everybody, one-on-one, but can you also do it, when you have that opportunity beyond Sunday, you can be with one person and so on and so forth, and things like that. We talk about creating a support network. You can create a proper support network that even goes beyond just what we are teaching, but people are able to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I experienced, this is one thing I want to know, and so on and so forth. Okay. And last but not the least, one of the major significances will be facilitating accountability. It's always useful for people to be accountable, feel accountable to someone, feel that somebody's looking at you, watching your back. We saw Paul and Barnabas having this. Paul was approaching after he became a believer, and he came to meet the apostles in Jerusalem, and Barnabas was able to say, hey, this is a brother, and stand for him and talk about him. He has done this, and so on and so forth. We always need to have that, and that is not something we might be able to achieve within the very short time we have on Sundays. Okay, so this is why we're doing this conversation, and I felt it's good we make some of these things clear. And to achieve this, we said we have to do some work on our mindsets, yeah. And so we're going to be doing some recalibration. That's where we're starting. We're talking about personal recalibration. And we're going to talk about this. And for personal recalibration, we're going to do a two-step calibration process. The first step will be understanding developmental stages. Yeah, you need to actually understand developmental stages to be able to meet up with the expectations for each age group of children we are trying to relate with. And the second one I have here will be cultivating active listening. And so we're going to do this a bit more. We're going to talk about some of these things. And these, I will call, will be our foundations that we can put together that are going to help us to be able to build relationships that transcend the church walls. So let's start with understanding developmental stages. I'm going to do a bit of talking, and there's quite some volume on this, but I'm not going to talk about everything. But of course, I assume after this, you will get some of the resources, and so you can read through. But I'm just going to do a brush through so we can get to where we want to get to. Okay, are we still together? Can I have a few thumbs up just to show you're not sleeping? Okay. There's no reactions. Everybody has slept. I didn't know. It's a very good lullaby. No, nobody's saying anything in the chat or no reactions anywhere. Oh, okay. Some people have woken up. That's good. Thank you. All right. Okay, fantastic. Oh, we're together. Okay, so let's get to it. So early childhood, and of course, I'm trying to skip okay, good. We're together. Thank you so much. I'll skip the infants, basically, between ages 1 and 2. Those are people that you might not be able to actually properly minister to beyond Sunday because you'll be ministering to their parents in that regard. But from 3 to 5, so let's start addressing those age groups. We find that at that age, they're just highly imaginative, curious fellows who have a very limited, attention span. And so if you want to actually minister to them, you have to be able to meet them with things like simple language. You want to speak their language they understand. A lot of us have very high, vocabulary from our various trades and skills, but you want to come to their level and put things at that simple level. Use animations and animated expressions. They are the people who are looking at every of your facial expressions and laughing at what is not laughable. But in that mode of engagement with them, we're able to relate Christ and able to pass across our messages to them. Okay, they want to play, and in the way we play, we are able to teach songs, do riddles, do things, and they just get to learn about Jesus, gradually, and so on and so forth. If we go a bit higher in the age group, and I'm not covering everything, we're just trying to build a foundation depending on where you are. And in a few minutes, I'm going to allow some people to talk about some of what they have experienced with some of these age groups. We talk about the mid childhood. With mid childhood, we find they're beginning to start thinking and considering things a bit more logically, and they're growing independent, and they have a lot of self-awareness. They begin to know the difference between their boys and girls. At that age, they're always very conscious. They're bit conscious of themselves in that regard, and many of them are learning how to read. Okay, and so at that point, if we want to communicate with them, we want to be thinking about how they can when we talk to them, we put open-ended questions to them so that they use their creativity to respond. Open-ended questions will be questions that are not expecting just polar answers, yes or no. But questions that allow them to express themselves, express their feelings a lot better. Then the use of visual aids becomes very, very cardinal. So if we put visual aids before them, it attracts them. They're able to interpret the things we are saying to them. Storytelling, their attention span is getting wider, and they can follow through on a story. So storytelling becomes very useful. You want to teach a message, but you first tell them a story. They can comprehend the story, and then by the time you're putting forth the message that you're trying to put across to them, they're able to grab it a lot more, and so on and so forth. And then because they're getting they're beginning to seek, some level of attention. You want to make sure that we encourage participation as much as possible. Otherwise, some of them might just be drawn back, and while some would always dominate our classes. Okay. Then we look at people at 9 to 12, and that in that age group, of course, they start doing some problem solving. They're ready to solve problems and think logically. They want to take responsibility. They want to lead choruses. They want to take prayers. They want to do the things you are doing, at that age. And they're beginning to think of, oh no, that is wrong, that is right, you should do this right. They start becoming judges and express themselves, and that could be troublesome for us if we're not ready for people of that age group. Okay. And so we want to foster critical thinking in our interaction with them when communicating with them, pose hypothetical questions and scenarios to them that allow them to wriggle around, to discuss the matter, to express themselves in their own language, in their own terms. That gives us an opportunity to know what they're thinking, know how they're understanding what you are saying, and so encourage group activities. Let them huddle up in groups and do their things. Somebody takes the lead amongst themselves, and they start learning some of this teamwork. They start learning some things that could make them express themselves in much more better ways, and even learn to express the gospel, which is what we're all about anyway. And so activities like role play, use them to do role play of the Bible story. That way it sticks it forever. They know that, wow, I acted Jesus, healing the Samaritan woman or something like that. That story becomes their story, and they go with that, and it makes them a lot better. And last but not the least, we call them teenagers, the early adolescents. At that stage, they're thinking abstract. Their reasoning is getting to get more intense. Okay, they need a sense of belonging and identity. It's usually very compromised. That's one of their greatest, challenges. And because there's a lot of information, that hits them from various places and various directions. Okay, so they have heightened emotional sensitivity. You can easily hurt a teenager. You can say something that you just make them feel so bad, go into their shells, or some even want to jump and change faith, to be honest. And that's because they're very sensitive, and they lack self-identities to a large extent. And some of these things are just physiological, simply physiological. It's not because they are demonic or they are not regenerated. As a matter of fact, some of them will be born again and spirit-filled, but physiologically, they've just not developed to some of these stages. And that's why we really need to understand, these developmental stages, so that we're able to channel the right efforts to people at their different age expectations. There'll be outliers, but at the same time, this is just general sense of information. Okay, so we need to listen actively to what they're saying. They'll be saying things vocally, they'll be saying things that they're not saying verbally, but they actually mean them. They want some level of attention. They want you to encourage them with some of the things you say, and so on and so forth. Okay, and they want to have someone they can talk to. You realize that many of them pretend that they are independent and they don't need your opinion, but at the same time, they really do need mentorship so much at that point, and guidance, but they need to be sure they're in safe space. Okay, and so if we understand some of these developmental stages and some of the different expectations of people at those stages, it enables us to be able to channel our efforts right. Okay, this is just a bit of foundation, and I'm trying to do this quickly. That's why I'm not allowing so much of talking. So the next stage of our self-recalibration, we're talking about personal recalibration, if you recall, is cultivating the art of active listening. If I may, let me ask us, what is active listening in your own words? Anybody? Anybody? You want to unmute yourself and help us? What is active listening? Or maybe you raise your hand. If you can't unmute yourself, raise your hand, and somebody's going to help you unmute yourself. I need somebody to talk at this point. Like I said, I'm a teacher by training, so I'm going to be using some of my teacher rules. I need someone to say something. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I think active listening is the act of receiving an information and being able to process and digest it as the speaker meant for it to be. So you're able to understand completely what the speaker has communicated. That's active listening.
Fantastic. Any other thoughts? Anybody feels there's any part you want to add on that? What was active listening?
Okay, so I want to say that active listening also implies that you are fully engaged with the other person that is talking to you. So you are listening not to give a response or to show your opinion, but you are listening in order to show that, yes, I fully understand what you're saying.
Great. Okay. That's a third hand. I can see Ikeke, Mrs. Ikeke.
So
Right? Yeah.
Yes, I just want to say that I simply focus, on whoever is speaking to you.
Yeah. Yes. And that's fantastic. That's why when you have a good class, the teacher is always a lucky man. And that everybody has said it, very beautifully. And the addition of all that has been said just spells it out. Okay. So I'm not even going to read this definition of active listening because everybody has explained it, the different components of it, because we just want to be able to you are concentrating, you are picking up, you understand. If you need to respond, and somebody pointed that out very importantly, if you need to respond, you're responding, and you can even remember, a lot of women will say their husbands don't listen, in the sense that you say something things and you talk about it tomorrow and he has no recollection of it. And that that is, not active listening, because, well, he said yes, but it wasn't really remembering, and things like that. But we want to be able to have that skill, behind us, and where we can listen and have all these components properly in our communication, and that's active listening. In order to cultivate active listening, we're going to just run through a couple of ideas, a couple of tips, okay, very, very fast, because we have good clues of it already. And it says you have to be present and mindful. A lot of us are not in the conversation. We're there, but not there. You want to be present and have your mind, focused on what the conversation is all about. I know there could be several distractions in most of the places where we find children, but when we pay attention, they're able to sense that, they're able to understand that, okay, this person is really listening to me. This person is, and I'm dovetailing straight into the second point. We talks about, you're showing attentiveness through your body language. If you're not looking at the person who you're speaking to, or you're looking away, it shows that, hey, either you're wasting my time, or, well, I'm thinking about something else, how to buy pepper or something, or something like that. And that gives a sense that, hey, let me stop what I'm saying. Oh, this person is really not listening. Oh, I think I'm boring this man or this woman I'm trying to talk to. And so we want to lean in, give a nod, give an expression that shows, yeah, you are listening, you are interested, you are excited about what they're saying, you are curious, and so on and so forth. Those are things we need to start, building. The Bible is saying, it says, bear one another's burdens, and by so you are fulfilling the law. That's Galatians 6:2. Okay, and if we look again at James was saying, be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Slow to speak, just calm down and listen. It's very, very useful for us to cultivate this. And I can tell you that a lot of young people complain that older people don't listen. They're quick to speak. You say something, he knows the answer. He knows the verdict. He knows where you're going. How can you know where I'm going without listening to me? Okay, so refrain from judgment. Judgment is, and one of our participants said that earlier, not to judge. Judgment is one of the one reasons that a lot of young people, especially teenagers, don't say anything to the so-called important people in their lives. And I'll call them important people, like parents, teachers, people that can guide them properly. You know, instead, they rather just talk to their peers who will not judge them, who might laugh over it, who might, you know, give them even wrong advice, you know. But if we're slow to judgment, if we just listen up and just be calm. I've heard some of the deepest things in this world, to be honest, by just being calm and listening. And a lady told me, how come you understand things so much? And I sincerely did not understand anything when she started, you know, the conversation, but because it was unimaginable. But because I was calm and I didn't, you know, judge, she said, oh, you understand things. And she went opening, you know, cans of worms. And in the process, you're now able to offer the solution. You're able to, you know, push across to the right person. Oh, okay, why don't you talk to this person? Oh, this person. But when you start by judging and somebody comes on and says, this is the problem. Oh, I had intercourse with one man, someone, you're like, what? You know, by the time you give some of those things, or but the Bible says, they know what the Bible says, Father. You know, everybody knows. They already knew, but they just came to meet you, or they just thought they want to be safe. So if we can put down the judgment hammer, you know, sometimes we'll be able to get the core of the matter, and people will be able to express themselves a bit more clearly and openly to us. Okay, so Bible was saying again in Proverbs, it says, he who answers before hearing the facts, it is folly and shame to him. It's a shame a lot of us judge before hearing the full story. Okay, clarify and summarize, and I'm going to get a bit faster. Clarify and summarize. You want to be sure of what they're really saying. Sometimes people can be very funny. Sometimes even in narration, it might not be very right. By the time you clarify, by the time you put a summary to it, you'll be able to be sure, okay, this is what this person is trying to say, and so on and so forth. Okay, and we have a few others. I'm not going to buttress on these because I want us to move to some other things. Okay, ask open-ended questions. Practice empathy. Try not to interrupt the conversations. Just listen for a while. Some of us need an ounce of patience in our lives. Just to chill for a second and let's hear from our children, the young ones. Jesus said, "Suffer not the little ones to come unto me, because such is the kingdom of heaven." Okay, and this starts within the church walls. Transcending the church walls actually starts within the church walls. If we're able to practice some of these core things that we're talking about in personal recalibration, while we're having our children's church or Sunday school, whatever we want to call it, meetings, then we'll be able to transcend the church walls in our interaction with them. Then we'll be able to do some of the extra things, which we'll be getting to in a bit, okay? But I want to emphasize that how we handle matters. Imagine you are the teacher that everybody is escaping from and doesn't really want to talk to, or doesn't want to be near, or once they are coming, they are rearranging themselves in weird ways. You know, there's rearrangement that is cool. It's good to be a presence where they feel accountable to you. That's okay. But when you are someone that you're just scared and disgusted, and you're not able to know what is happening behind them, then most likely you now say, hey, can we go for an outing? They just say, yes, we're coming for the outing, and you'll be alone. You'll be out all alone. Okay, so it starts within the church walls. Okay, so first we said we need to actively recalibrate periodically. Don't do it one time and say, oh yeah, I went through the slides and I did something and that's it. No, every time we need to consider ourselves again and just so, okay, how am I doing with this? How am I doing with this? And it just helps us to become better at our ministry and able to attend to them a lot better. Okay, and then we talk about partnering with parents. Partnering with parents is also very essential. It's important that for effective ministry, we're able to interact with the parents and have the parents team up with us. When we team together, we're able to achieve much more in our ministry. We're able to do what we want to do. We're able to reach out to them. We're able to talk to them. They're able to listen to us, because different children have different levels of respect for different adults. Some of them respect their parents so much, and their parents are like gold to them. Some of them respect, some influencer out there, and so on and so forth. But there's no child who at least doesn't have a family, a system of guidance where you can leverage on to bring out, more effective ministry work. And so just a few tips. I'm sure we can find resources on past Olive Conference on working and partnering with parents, but just a few tips which we'll browse over. And I don't know if there's anybody who wants to lean on any of these this stuff on the chat. I want to open it. I want to hear from you. I like to learn from people. Sorry, I'm that kind of teacher. So anybody, any of the points we have before us, I think we have 4 points there. Want to share? How can we, some best practices in fostering dialogue and trust with children and their families? Anybody wants to build the card? Okay, well, I wouldn't wait, but immediately you're ready to pick any of the points, maybe you can raise your hand. So the first one we have there is creating a welcoming environment. And like I said, we're starting with church, within the church walls. Can we have a warm atmosphere within your church that the children feel like your family, okay? And their parents feel like your family. The parents feel welcome. The church or your children's church, or whatever you want, how you call it, is not a place that is out of bounds for parents. You see, if you make your children's church a place that no, it's only the children and parents don't feel welcome, then they begin to assume, oh, well, you're doing your thing, we'll do our thing. But let's have them come around. I've always loved the open day concept. We have that in secondary schools or primary schools, I don't know. Why don't allow parents to come around anytime you want? Come around, come and share, come and spend one Sunday with us, come and see how we do things around here. Okay, let it be a welcoming environment for parents and their family. Okay, establish clear communication, send regular updates. This is what we're doing. This is the topic we're treating. Can you send to the parents too, so that they realize that, oh, okay, this is what they are doing, but it's not just we are all doing this. And so even at home, they can remind their child that, oh yeah, should be you people are talking about patience, be patient with your brother, and it gives them that opportunity that, hey, you're not there, but you have another teacher right in their house, in their own space, who is able to give them sort of reminders and prompters. And as well, they feel that, oh, okay, you have them able to access your contact. So they have your information. They know, oh, I can call this person to confirm what this child is saying. I can easily interact and just share my burden. Sometimes parents just want to air. Everybody needs somebody to vent to sometimes. Let your contact be available, for parents to be able to interact with you. Be approachable and available. It's also very important that we are approachable to even the parents. If you have, of course, I can imagine that most teachers in children's church are not full-time staff, okay? But can you have some hours where they can reach you? Can you make deliberate information that, hey, you can reach me at this time, or even being visible while they are coming to drop their children? Do they meet you? Or you are just there, at the back, and then they drop the children. Then maybe when the children are settled, you're now driving to church late or something like that. Try to be visible when they're leaving, when they're coming to pick up the children. Let them meet the teacher. Let them know who you are. And the more parents know who you are, then tomorrow when you say, we're doing this, they say, okay, yeah, that man, oh, that young lady with a very nice smile. Even if they've not gotten your name registered, and so on and so forth. So be visible and available for them to see. Okay, and encourage family involvement, opportunities where the whole family can come along. Yeah, it's also very good. So you've organized it for the class, but why not? Come on, let's have tea and this thing and let everybody come. And let parents also come. Family events that can there's a picnic organized by the children's church, and for a particular class or something, or anything you may want to, but it's always good to have family events so that the parents know that we're doing this together. Okay, does anybody want to say anything, add anything to what I've said, sorry, before I leave this page? People are getting more quiet. Okay, now I think I've confirmed that some people have slept. Okay, but let's move on because okay. Anyway, right. I'm going to start calling names. It's not out of conduct. Okay. Then we talk about things like respect and understanding culture. Okay. I can see. Okay, same with you. I don't know. Grace Oluwa Fumilola. Do you want to say something? Is that hand up or you're just saying something?
Yeah, I want to say something. Can you hear me
good.
now?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I thank you so much for what you have been saying. In fact, you are really, really making sense, and all your conversation are very, very impactful. I want to add that we should be prayerful in handling those parents. You know, some of them didn't want us to tell them the truth, while some do. So I want to add that we should approach those parents with the help of the Holy Spirit in order not to feel guilty or cause more problem in the church or make them to feel as if you are just focusing on their child alone or you are seeing the bad side of their children. Thank you.
Yes, very, 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 very useful stuff. We need to approach with a lot of care and caution. And this is why we need to really build these relationships, yeah? So that we don't offend parents. When you offend parents sometimes in some of these things, it affects the children because when the parent says, oh, this is your teacher, that this thing, the child comes to class the next Sunday and the child is not interested in what you're saying because it feels you are a bad person, quotes and unquote. Yeah, and so yes, very, very nice point. We need to be very cautious and prayerful as we do that. And that's why it just links with our next point, which says respect and understand different cultures. Sometimes we come from different cultures. Nigeria is a very cultural diverse place, for example. And of course, I mean, that's just even Nigeria, not about everywhere in the world. Some cultures believe in certain things, some cultures accept certain things. And if you just say, hey, me, from where I come from, no, you can't do this, your hair cannot be this, some people talk about my beards. I have some beards. I don't know if you can see it, and you must have your skin beard. Hey, come on. Let's focus on the core things, and that way we're able to be culturally sensitive and sensitive to children's backgrounds. Some parents are not even saved. And if you come very strongly on certain things that are not, because, you might lose the child in the process instead of making the child, oh, okay, I understand where this person is coming from and why she's wearing what she's wearing or why she's tattooed the way she is, and just overlook it, make a joke about it, do something and move on. It really could be very, very useful and helpful for us. It also provide consistent feedback. Yeah. So, I mean, if your feedback is regular, people get used to it. It helps reinforce certain points. It becomes, something that, okay, it's not just that this person is trying to pick out on me, or pick out on certain things. But if you come once in a while and then they say, okay, because I did this or because this child did this, now they are saying this. No, but if you give regular feedback, it becomes more of a custom, okay? And we can use different means of communication to give feedback. I mean, gone are the days where it has to be print media, and you have a report sheet. Now you can send a message, do something, and so on and so forth, okay? And let's build trust through being reliable and consistent. You have to be consistent and transparent with what is happening around and what you are doing, coming at the right time, be there, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. So I think that's those are just about the 2 points we will talk about in terms of in the church walls. I mean, while within the church walls, some of the things we really need to get sorted. And once this foundation is well established, now we can transcend the church walls. Now we can talk about what happens outside the church walls, now we can be looking into the space and considering other activities and ideas that we can, do beyond the church walls and be able to still minister to these people even better in various ways. Okay, I grouped these into three because this is the core of our conversation. And so I have three groups. I said we'll talk about team bonding activities that we can do. And then we talk about leveraging digital technology. And finally, we just explore innovative ways to do that. And I think we have about 30 minutes to do this together. And so we'll talk, let's go into transcending the church walls. Okay. So starting from team bonding activities, let's think about things we can do, So if we look at collaborative brainstorming activities, if we establish collaborative brainstorming activities with children that we're dealing with, examples could be like, planning a scavenger hunt activity, or Bible hunt, with Bible clues and something like that. In the process, it looks like a game. It looks like we're playing, but they're doing some critical thinking, and we're trying to remember what happened in the scriptures at this point. Oh, when you say Ruth, what other name do you think about? What are the two names? So you would two names that first come to your mind, and maybe you're just looking for the first letter of those alphabets, B, Boaz, N, Naomi, and you're using it to fill in a puzzle or something like that. In such brainstorming activities, which of course most of the time are done in teams, so they collaborate as teenagers and have some of these kind of things, they're able to think of the Bible, they're able to dig into the Bible, they're able to do some research, they're getting some interest in the Bible and things like that. And it comes as fun, but it builds a Bible community, and it builds an opportunity for the children to also want to seek God, or even build some of these things. So there are two brainstorming sessions that can happen in this case. One could be in the activity itself, while going and doing a treasure hunt as a team and trying to find out certain things, going through some of these riddles, if you don't know what treasure hunt really means, or even in planning it being in the core of planning and stage managing some of these things. This kind of opportunities give them a greater opportunity to come closer to the teachers, to come closer to you as a teacher, and you start hearing their thoughts. You start knowing, oh, okay, this person knows the Bible to this extent. Oh, this person can be used to do this activity. Oh, this person doesn't really know anything about what we've been teaching, because I mean, at this point, it's an opportunity to talk about some of the topics we've taught before. And then you realize, wow, okay, this person has an in-depth knowledge. This person seems not to have gotten it. And then you are able to, make learning the Bible not just fun and a memorable experience, but also an opportunity for people, for you to know how they've gotten to understand these things and how they can use the Bible, for other things beyond that. Okay. Still on team bonding activities, we look at collaborative projects. So you could do a project, and the projects could come in different forms. So imagine you do a workshop of arts and crafts, and especially this is very useful and even possible with the younger ones. You could try to set up a project where you're trying to do certain things, and they're going to use the Bible, or make a Bible story, or do costumes, and different people act in different capacities for a drama. When they do some of these activities, of course, most likely your drama rehearsal is not going to be on Sunday. So like that, we're talking about transcending Sunday right now. Okay. It gives them an opportunity for them to express themselves. It gives them an opportunity to learn these Bible stories and feel like they're in it, because they are, of course, if you're acting a drama, you got to get in character. It gives them an understanding to understand these lessons a bit more deeper. It's easy to, when somebody tells you a story, and when you're now acting the story, you begin to now understand it. And so, oh wow, okay, this is this and this is that, and that way, in those kind of simple projects, we're able to teach better. We're able to get them to have things that they can learn, and in the process they can solve problems and learn teamwork, essential skills that go beyond just church and go as useful things for life and godliness. Okay. And the last but not the least on team bonding activities we can think about outside the church will be creative outreach programs. It looks like it's not a church activity, but if you're doing neighborhood stuff, especially for churches where you have most of the people around the neighborhood, the opportunity for them to come out and do a little neighborhood project, even if it's filling potholes, it gives children a sense of responsibility. They begin to see, oh, as Christians, these are some of the values we have in life. Oh, we can do good to the community. And these are always preaching moments. And in the process of carrying this and doing that, and you can take a little time to talk to one person. You can find somebody who is lazy, somebody who is laid back. You can find somebody who is going to say a careless word, and then you realize, oh, this guy is going through this in his family or in her family, and so on and so forth. And these are just open periods where people open up their mouths and open up their minds and give you access into their hearts. And when I say give you, well, give God access into their hearts through you. And so while Paul was a tent maker, he wasn't just making money, but he was also able to interact with other tent makers, and he was able to disciple them. They became core people who were agents of ministry. So it's good that we try some of these projects. It also allows them an opportunity to stand in the neighborhood and stand for Christ. So you come out with your t-shirts and you're doing stuff. Many people, and that's the truth, many believers are not bold to stand for their faith. If I ask how many people have gone for mission outreach in the last whatever months or years, it's going to be very few, but when you start giving children an opportunity to come out as believers and identify as Christians, in this safe kind of outreaches, in this safe kind of programs, you're visiting nursing home, motherless baby home, you're doing this little stuff, you're doing a food bank project, they start identifying as Christians, and they know their identity, and they're not shaken, they're not ashamed of the gospel of Christ and who they are in Christ Jesus. And so with these kind of things, they start fixing themselves in Christ, they start fixing themselves in ministry, they start saying, hey, this is who we are. They start bonding together a lot better. Some arguments that could have happened in church become things that they're sorting. They start becoming friends. It's very important we build friendship communities. Many believers don't have strong friends who are also believers. But in this kind of, team bonding activities we've gone through, you find opportunities for people to actually now foster strong and long-lasting friendships that can help them to actually stand for Christ wherever they find themselves in the world, as it may be. Okay, so these are just examples, and I'm going to do a quick run through again. We talked about collaborative brainstorming. Okay, time for them to open up their minds as a team and work on problem solving. We talked about collaborative projects, coming up with something to do and execute, and everybody leans in and puts hands together and gets their hands dirty while getting deeper understanding of scriptures. And we talked about what? Collaborative outreach. I feel like you're doing another test. I'm in the test mode today. Okay, but and so on and so forth. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything or on team bonding activities that maybe you've tried out before in your church or with your children and teenagers. It will be useful to learn from everybody. And let me say this, the chat box is open throughout. If you have any questions, drop it in. I'm watching my chat box constantly. If you want to say anything, raise your hand. I could take a pause and allow you to speak so that we learn from each other. It's useful that we learn from each other. Please feel free. This is a safe room. Yes, Mrs. Grace, you get my award of best participant. Please go ahead.
Well,
yes, ma'am.
I just have something come to my mind when you were talking about the neighborhood projects.
Yes.
That they can go out to fill some potholes and all that. something else came to my mind that they can also pick dirt. Maybe they'll just wear their gloves and their nose mask and carry this waist bag. They can also pick dirt on the street. So that one just dropped, and I added it to my points. So
yes,
thank you.
yes. I've seen that in one of these children cartoons. I can't remember. I don't know the name anyway. Just you you see them doing that along the line. Yeah, picking dirt, and that was very nice. Yes, thank you, Ma. We've got hi JK TV. Ma,
Okay,
please.
yes. Thank you very much. I don't know if I'll be joining us back, but at the part where you were talking about respecting, when we're talking about best practices for fostering, so I had a question and I just really want to ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, the part where you said we should have respect for and understanding for cultural differences, right? We understand that we all came from different background and all of that, and there are some teachers that are actually dealing with, I don't know, but churches differ. I don't know how they select teachers into children ministry and all of that, but some teachers are still really dealing with their foundational dysfunction. They are coming from a dysfunction foundation, and the fact that they are now teachers doesn't mean they are completely healed. So let's say I have a teacher that is in the church and is teaching my child, and me, I say I like that my male child has his hair being made and all of that. All of these things are a thing of culture and how we feel. But then this teacher doesn't like it and doesn't have respect and feels that, oh, I am not training my child in the right way. And this teacher is in the church and keeps, I feel like, I don't want to use the word bully because that might be heavy, but at every point in time, why do you have to make your hair and all of that? And I feel like you are coming from a dysfunction foundation. So how, as a parent, how do I handle such situation?
Yes. Thank you so much for that very practical question. Yeah. And I feel it's really now this is the teacher, the parent helping the teacher to appreciate the fact that, hey, you need to calm down and allow people to be people. For me, one interesting one which will have been cool, which is just easy low-hanging fruit, is to also share resources. You see, sometimes there are certain things you cannot say to people directly, depending on, of course, age and stage and things like that, or even do they really respect your words. But can you find the teaching? I just thought about this conference, for example. If you share, there's this conference I attended. Unfortunately, this question is in this conference, so maybe this conference might not work for your own case, but I assume it's hypothetical. And you say, hey, can you also, read this or watch this stuff? It's very useful for teachers, and it was on this stuff. If we find some of these kind of resources available, we can just share. I've done it before, and someone who I respect so much, I just give a book. I can't say much, but there's a book, and I know you read books and you understand stuff. Here's a book that makes sense, and it was an answer to some very critical questions. So sometimes, even if we can't address them straight on, which I assume is the real core of the matter. It's not like you don't know what to say or you don't know the truth, but just being able to address, you can find other subtle ways, simple resources, short video clips. There are very many resources out there, and that gives you an opportunity to just subtly pass across the message to the parent, to the teacher, so that the teacher can calm down and pipe down and allow people to leave. Yeah. I can see Zacchaeus.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to add that I believe strongly that one of the significances of team bonding activities is also that it helps our children and teenagers to actually develop this sense of belonging. It helps them it helps to foster sense of belonging. Like you have this community spirit, that you can have a community like a workstation where you can always confide in, and maybe, you know, I mean, some stuffs you really cannot you really cannot open up to other people. Now you have a community where you say, okay, I can actually share my stuff here. Like somehow you find some form of solitude in team bonding activities, because you begin to develop some degree of trust in the people in that circle, and then you know that, oh, I can identify with this person, or okay, these people can identify with my current situation. So you are not isolated, you know. You have group of people who are, I mean, who you believe that you share some common values with, and you guys are going in the same direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. I need not add anything on that. That was apt. And I can see one brilliant comment in the chat, which says, which is from Mommy Ikeke, if I got it right, and she says, attend their parties. You know, when invited. You know, it's also very useful. Sometimes we don't go for some of these things. They have a birthday party, they have a function in their family. Be there. It really helps them realize that, hey, this person is part of my family. This person is part of my friendship, not just one teacher, my teacher. No, this person loves me and is there for me. Okay, so that's also very useful, very, very important. Thanks so much. So let's go on a bit, yeah? So leveraging on digital platforms, that's another very useful one, okay? We need to take advantage of social media and the digital space, okay? To be able to meet these ones are right. We realized that I took these statistics off a website, and I decided not to quote it because the 2023 statistics in the US of how much time teenagers, and now these teenagers, not just all children, spend on these different social media platforms. And we could see from these statistics, they spend so much time on YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram. We got 8%, 8.4% on Facebook, then Discord, WhatsApp, 5.3, and so on and so forth. And if I ask in this room how much time many of us spend on some of these platforms, I'll realize that many of us don't even have TikTok accounts. Some of us are here for Snapchat for the first time. Maybe a couple of people on Instagram and so on and so forth. But that's the reality. So many of these young folks are right dogging to some of these platforms. And where are their teachers? Do the teachers know what's happening there? Are the teachers in their space? Can you bring the gospel in that space? Because sometimes it's not just about, hey, let's see what's there, but can they also be there? And you put yourself right there. You've put God there. You've put God in those spaces. Those spaces are not for the devil. God created the IQ and everything required to make social media in everything engineering technology wise. So let's also leverage on these things. Let's also be there. So you can do your own survey. Do a quick survey in a fun time with the children. Don't make it a judgment time. You know, a safe time. Just ask questions. What these platforms are. How many of you, show of hands, how many hours do you spend on this? How many hours do you spend on that? And let everybody have fun. You take your statistics. I know, hey, these are where my guys are. You know, don't deceive yourself. Out of the 3% you've spent with them, some of them are spending, you know, 20% on social media, and you're out of that space. God is quote unquote out of that space because you're not there to minister to them in that way. So let's leverage on some of these platforms. So you need to learn their stuff and use their stuff to get them. Okay. A wise man by name Oludapo once said, to catch fish, you have to go where the fish are. Don't look for the wise man anywhere, it's in front of you. But you need to be there. Don't make the TikTok and Snapchat look like the devil's box. It is a box that can be used by the Lord, for the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So it might not be comfortable, you might not have all the time in the world, but let's also be in some of those spaces. Let's not be strangers in those spaces. The truth is, for some of us, you know, by the time we land in some of those spaces, everybody just runs away. You know, there's teenagers, I mean, they see you come up into their status and they say, hey, this guy is in my status. They block you straight away. You know, but if you're a regular, you've been there, you've been doing stuff, they don't even realize that you're there. And then you're able to see and understand. You're able to relate. You're able to, you know, address things in the other ways subtly. I mean, you don't address things directly sometimes, but you look for the opportunity, and then you're able to tackle some of those things that have happened in that space. And so we need to, one way or the other, find time to get into some of these things. What about calls? I mean, even if you say you can't, your phone is not a smartphone and you don't have anything smart around you, you can make a call. Call them on their birthdays, call them on their event, their special events, call them through their parents. Not everybody has a phone, right? Call their parents. I want to talk to this person. The parent knows that, wow, this person is thinking about my son. Oh, this person loves my son. Oh, this person, and so on and so forth. Let's do that. Periodic checkups. I just want to say hi. I remember when I used to write letters to my grandma. My grandma was living in Ibadan. I was living several miles away, and it was also once in a while when my dad is traveling all the way, and then we write letters and she writes back maybe twice in a year. That's our full communication. But that was it. Pick and call through. Now life is easier. Yeah, just call. Make it a point of duty to call every quarter. Just call one person one time, and then you build that link that transcends church, and they just realize, oh, this thing, and then one day they're in trouble. They actually call you and say this thing. Then one day they feel, oh, I can call this person. Oh, I can talk to this person. One day you want to call them to this one. You don't look like a stranger that, why are you calling me? What happened? You know, but well, we talk. We're in talking terms. Okay. So let's leverage on technology. It's simple. Then the other resources that we can use, there are resources available that we don't need to sometimes actively be involved. But if we can put up stuff, think about plans that are available, learn ideas from them, different stuff. We've got Axis, we've got Youth Works, we've got Crosswalks, we've got Focus on Family. They've got all sorts of ideas, you know, that we can just glean from, Bible notes, Bible lessons, activities we can do outside church that we can learn from. And I mean, we can always check some of these things online, and YouVersion Bible app. YouVersion Bible app is just so fantastic. It's technically like a social media Bible app because it has another platform that we can form a community and interact with people, study Bible plans with them. So you can have devotion with your children throughout the year if you want. I mean, don't want to overburden them. Periodically throughout the year, you can do stuff, you can do interesting things. So let's find all these platforms. Let's leverage on them. Let's be the ones using the tech that God has given us in this age and using it right, because whether you like it or not, the children are right there in some of these platforms. And then you can explore a lot of other innovative ways. Okay. I'm going to suggest a few. I'm going to put a few in front of us, and then I'm going to want to hear from us, some that we might have done before. I'm going to, because I can imagine there are so many other innovative ways that you could do that. And so I'm opening it up for a discussion. I'm just putting this in front of us. Any innovative ways you've been able to engage children outside the church, you know, for effective ministry? Any thoughts? Any experiences you want to share? I'm going to go through my list. I'm expecting hands. I'm expecting anything, and I'm going to pause for you to talk. Anybody who wants to, please don't be shy, and let's learn from you, please. Okay. Says organize. You can organize nature walks. I mean, something as simple as walking, you know, through the zoo, through a park. We don't have so many wonderful parks in most parts of the country, but you can walk through a park with them and tell stories. That's how Jesus was walking with his disciples, and he was able to do this thing. They dried up one tree, fig tree. Hey, this thing, they got more faith, you know, and it was everything, teaching moment. These are teaching moments that we can get just from simple activity of, oh, we're doing a walk in the zoo. We are going to do this thing. Nothing necessarily so expensive. Yeah. You can have a picnic, sports day. Well, everybody loves sports, quote unquote, except me, but yeah, I know you do. A field trip, do something, and you can invite their family, invite the other friends, just have something, and a games day, yeah, see karaoke, and this thing, karaoke, singing gospel songs, having fun. Many people have eroded the concept of, oh, Christian songs. I was discussing with some children one day, and they said Christian songs are boring because, we're saying your best artist, and of course, in a very non-judgmental way. So they were calling names, and they'd already, they had already said all the things, and I was like, okay, how come nobody is saying this person? And they say, okay, their songs are nice. Then there's like, Christian songs are not that interesting. No? Have you heard of this one? Okay, and that one is nice. Have you heard, but they just don't see them as things that they should consistently do. But if we make it a thing, then they're there, then they are listening to songs, then they listen to those songs, they compare notes. Yeah, we could talk about book club. There's somebody's throwing book club, yeah. Book club, there's the Bible club, people do Bible clubs, yeah. These are activities that are not necessarily on Sunday. You can have them rally around, have a book club, read books, exchange books, realize they're reading Bible books, reading Bible books, and then they get interested and they read the Bible itself, and try to dig in and learn more. Movie days, yeah, movie days. Go to the cinema. We've had costs to rent the whole cinema, and people buy tickets and enjoy a wonderful time. And even if you don't want to take a whole cinema, you don't have that number of people, why not do something even in your own house? Switch off the lights, put on the TV, and let's watch. Just invite the kids over and so on and so forth. So yeah, I can say organizing a car wash day, those are activities that look like fun. And then you can just talk about one thing, chip in one thing, and this thing, and they realize, wow, we've had some fun, we did this together, and they feel more comfortable. They feel like church is fun. Jesus is an interesting and thing to talk about. Jesus people are nice people, and so on and so forth. Okay, you can do a home kitchen stuff. Let them come over to your house and cook and bake, and so on.
To chip this in on the ways we can, the innovative ways we can use. There was something we did sometimes ago in my church for teenagers. We had a kind of hangout, although it was still the church environment we used, but we created the settings in a more relaxed way.
Yeah.
But there was something we chipped in. We allowed them to put in any question they have in a sheet of paper, like in a piece of paper. They don't have to put their name, like an anonymous thing. So they put in any question, wrap it, and they just put in question in a piece of paper and just submit without putting their names. So
Yeah.
nobody is being judged. Nobody knows who actually asked. You don't have to know the person that asked the question. And that way they were free. They were able to open up and ask some questions. So I feel even in all of these, maybe hangouts, movie, whatever we are planning, maybe picnic, we can chip in this kind of thing to enhance them to open up and say their mind too.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That's very, very nice tip. Very nice tip. Yeah. All sorts of innovative stuff. We did something in my church this year. This year we decided to, or in my teens church, let me put it that way. We decided to read a proverb a week. There's so much wisdom in the proverbs. Why don't we read them? So we got a card. So we printed a card, bookmarker kind of stuff, beautifully, something that you want to carry around and flash. Teenagers like things that nice. Children, let me say, not well. Let's give them their respect sometimes. Yeah, like stuff that they look good, and they've got those are technically memory verses. But just proverbs of the week, and each week we go through a proverb, and that way they're supposed to read the proverb, we interpret it, then think about it, and they have it with them throughout the week. And so every week they're going around with that stuff. And so besides the memory verse, this is the memory verse and we recite and we leave it. No, throughout the week they have something that is on their member, which they like to carry. You could make it a fan, you could make it something, you could do just something exciting that they realize that, wow, we are on this together, and church is fun, God is fun, and we can do this. And so I want us to keep exploring, just keep thinking. let's never give up. Let's not stop. Let's not get tired of finding ways that beyond the church walls, we can just connect with these people. We can spend just a few hours. We can interact. We can be together such that church becomes, or Christian living, let me not call it church. Christian living becomes a lifestyle for these children. And from the young age, they are able to stand as examples and let no man despise their youth. Okay. So this is our last slides, where we get to reflect on key learnings. What did you learn? What was the most notable thing? Because it starts now. We're going to start practicing now. Who's ready to go first? What insights do you think was most exciting from the workshop that you're set to go and perform? What's your new challenge?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so good afternoon.
Good afternoon. 30
Thank you
seconds.
so much, sir. We appreciate this training. So I think one of the things I would say I've learned in this workshop is that it is very essential that we put creativity, strategic planning into how we relate and communicate with our children and teenagers. In order to get them, we must devise means, schemes or methods that really is what is relatable to them, what they can, get in their, we must speak their language. I think that's the better way to say it. We must be able to speak their language if we really want to get them, if we really want to get into their world or make them open us up into their world. We must be able to use their keys, and I believe God will help us in the name of Jesus.
Amen.